a scion of many worlds. So, no kidding? That symbol is currently in use by a conservation-focused organization, Jasper asks into the radio as he reads through a book on the making of glasses and optometry. He has a debt to repay. The slipways need glasses, all of them. He's not certain about the legality or morality of altering another's body short of an emergency. Glasses will tide them over until professional doctors can take a look at them. Furthermore, he can teach them how to do it themselves. The books, the feeling of shifting sand and carbon into glass and shaping that glass as it forms into a lens, these are all parts of his payment to them. Generosity often returns, especially in a world where so many have so little. Setting up optometrists will be a gift that will keep on giving. Keep things mundane to keep the cults a bit more grounded. If he's just a figurehead to emulate rather than a figure to worship, then the whole cult issue could be easily sidestepped. Yes, they're actually in contact with Escobar Bridger's growing family to set up a few controlled sanctuaries for the animals. Wasn't he one of the Gurkha-trained men? One of them? Those boys are scary, Command replied, and Jasper chuckles. Yeah, thankfully I've gotten pretty scary myself. What about when the clusterfuck that totaled Lacrin happened? Were they using the symbol then? Yes. So it was likely a research and conservation outpost. Jasper considers. And it shot first. Command states clearly trying to put things together themselves. So did it mistake the nest for something else? Perhaps something that then slagged the facility? That seems to be the series of events. If it was a group of slavers, they would have grabbed the men and run. Jasper notes as he resists heaving a sigh of pity for the poor souls. But why wouldn't they come back? Male slaves may be more valuable, but an entire colony is worth a pretty significant payday. Why leave that much money just left lying around? Command asks, and Jasper does sigh as he ruffles his hair in frustration. Still missing pieces. This world would be a great spot for a conservation organization, as well as poachers, hunters, or exotic animal trappers. The creatures here are unusual and huge. They'd make amazing trophies and centerpieces to zoos. Jasper considers, wondering if the theoretical third-party pirates would be there for the animals and then saw a chance for men. A bombardment of the facilities after getting the prize to both trap people and prevent them from either calling for help or fighting back. Or the super dangerous pet of some warlord or crime boss. Status symbols are important. And now I've got Jabba the Hutt as a moth woman feeding people to her grand glider. That's going to get free rent in my head for far too long. Jasper groans. There are about a dozen people already freaking out over this recent revelation and starting to research. We've formally requested official files and several others are trying to hack. These events might become public though. That's bad. I was thinking that it was good. There's a good chance we'll get some support in helping lift up Lacran out of its dark ages, Command states. Maybe, but then we'll also have a lot of other people running around here. And this world is just not safe for civilians. We've got serious racial divisions, enormously dangerous animals, and outright barbarity around here. Little Sally Civilian is just going to get herself killed. Maybe, but they have money in their pockets, so donations and volunteers of the less fragile types can seriously help out. Command replies, and Jasper sighs. Fine. It would be unreasonable to expect this world to remain out of the highlight. I may have to speed up. You've broken a drought, conquered one country, and come to the aid of another while making peaceful contact with a major tribal society. Are you trying to conquer the planet before reinforcements even arrive? That might make things easier. If I'm in charge, I might be able to smooth over everything in a hurry. The scary thing is that I know you're serious. Crossing the planet in the span of time it would take for reinforcements to arrive would be impressive for any human. But you got your hands on a pair of wings, knowledge about how jet engines work, and axiom to bullshit your way across the world faster than sound itself. Yay. Don't get yourself killed. Do remember that you're our primary target in this rescue operation. I'm trying not to, but I do need to lead by example around here. You're our man on the ground. We have to trust you with this. Command sighs, and there's a slight cough into the microphone. And who else is on this call? I beg your pardon, but I couldn't help but overhear. A female voice adds in, and it takes Jasper a moment to place the name. Ah, Cornflower. Good evening. Jasper states, morning where I am. Cornflower answers. Ma'am, this is a private. Command begins in an angry huff. And what's caught your interest so much that you just had to speak up? Jasper asks. Also, Command, honey and vinegar, honey and vinegar. You're really opening up a lost colony to be resettled? Cornflower asks. Yes, Command says. Of course, these people deserve a chance. Right. It's not official, but you're in an area where behemoths were spotted, Cornflower says with a slight waver in her voice. Behemoths? Jasper asks. If this is big enough for a medical student to be this worried, it must be bad. Void-dwelling entities. They're not always hostile, but if something evolves in space, it ends up big. Hence the name. Cornflower states. Why have we found nothing of the sort on any form of record? Because behemoth movements are a scientific curiosity and not normally a matter of public concern, they're driven out of places with heavy infrastructure and generally stay away from civilization. Cornflower supplies. I see. Is it possible that one could have attacked a colony and destroyed part of it, as in melting armored structures to slag level of melting? Jasper asks, and there's a slight giggle. Is that a no? It's a no, but there are poachers who hunt behemoths down. Remember, they're fairly harmless but can retaliate. I'm sorry, I should have been clearer earlier. Lacrin is in an area where illegal hunters and opportunists are often found due to the sheer amount of easy targets in the behemoth-class life forms. Is that better? Considerably. Thank you for the warning, madam, Command says, and there's a strange interference that sounds like she's hanging up. Well, that's interesting. We were vaguely aware of void-born life forms, but they're incredibly rare and generally harmless. In fact, they're usually protected the galaxy over. Excepting some black market trade, I'm assuming? Jasper asks, and Command sighs. Yes, apparently some people are of the belief that having pieces of them around is good luck for a spaceship. The general consensus is that this might work, but it's barbaric. Meaning, people do it, and no one will admit it. Great. So it might not have been deliberate slavers, but poachers instead. They see the ground defenses take a shot on a colony ship and hear all the chatter between the two panicking sides. Then they open fire on the facility and slag it, shoot the already wounded nest, and either kill all the men by accident or run off with them as slaves. Perhaps they assumed there was going to be a police presence here, or that no one would survive impact. That does seem to be the likeliest chain of events, and it relies on an unknown third party committing massively immoral and dangerous acts. God damn it. Even our best theories are weak. Jasper groans in frustration. Why are you getting pissed off? You have so many more answers now. There's so much I'm dealing with that I just want something to be simple and easy. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to add optometrist to my growing list of professions. Deal with a teenager that's walking into an existential crisis. Make sure that diplomacy between three prickly, proud, and pissed-off nations doesn't devolve. Run interference on a tribe of boisterous warriors high on victory. Confer with my local researchers about the items I've found. Read the report from my traveling hospital and find some place and some time to fall down and sleep before the real work kicks off tomorrow. Dude, delegate. I have. The scary part is I already have, Jasper replies. Delegate harder. I'm trying. After setting up the Slipway family with glasses, I'm going to give them the option of taking on that kind of duty. If they say yes, I have that bit successfully delegated. Unfortunately, I can't delegate diplomatic talks as I'm the only party speaking to Miru, Greenstone, and the Goldlands. They won't talk to anyone else. The mountain clans don't respect non-warriors, and since I've proven myself, they listen to me. The other two are the results of delegation and being reported in on. All right. I won't take up more of your time then. Get to your issues and solve them, man. Solve them. Command orders. Sir, yes, sir, Jasper says, and the call disconnects. He just stares at the radio for a moment. I'm in the middle of the "Here be dragons" part of the map, and my problem isn't the fucking dragons surrounding my island, it's the asshole dragon slayers. Damn. He puts the radio down and rolls his shoulders as he puts a bookmark into the textbook. Food crises are resolved, the dams are draining safely, and he pauses and looks around, listening for rushing footsteps, and raises an eyebrow when nothing comes. Apparently, Murphy's Law isn't about to hit him like a ton of bricks. Time to finish things up, he says out loud and then pauses to listen again. Nothing. Well, how about that? 10 minutes later, he's listening to Zavia rant as she paces back and forth. He's got his textbook open again and is starting to manipulate the axiom around him to mimic the shapes. Are you even listening to me? You cannot believe the squalor in which other peoples live, nor can you believe the high standards in which people you thought were savage monks manage. You suspect conspiracy at all sides but can't find any proof, and it's driving you to distraction, because in the event that events have occurred in the way I described, you can't find a proper reason why. Jasper remarks as he looks up at her, and she just nods. Yes, that's it exactly. Not every plan goes according to plan, and not all plans are good, which in this context means well thought out to begin with. Perhaps things were a power grab to quell chaos and rebuild things later. I would even say that to be likely. However, if that is what happened in Miru, then the rebuilding was pushed back due to one reason or another so many times that it was eventually forgotten and became about nothing more than maintaining the power. A motivation can devolve quite quickly. There are many cases where people who set out to war to defend their homelands and ideals end up becoming monsters because they get caught up in fighting and destroying their enemies that they forget they went out to become shields and not swords. History is full to the breaking point of such tragedies. So this isn't even special. Just normal, regular awful, Zavia says, sitting down. She's never even bothered to take off the furs. The hood was down as she thought, slumped over and despairing. She then takes a deep breath and sits up straight. What do I need to do to wipe away the weakness and stupidity of the past to bring about a shining future? She asks him after a moment of consideration. Jasper's eyebrows go up. Apparently the mental turmoil had been a bit heavier than he thought. This was fast though, too fast. Stop looking at me like that, I'm not an idiot. You move fast and physical. You've blasted from one end of the continent to the other to gather food for Greenstone and Miru, and they love you for it. I don't know if it's going to stick around, but they love you now, and you're just stalling for time until the rest of your kind arrive. But you've been trying to convince me you're the hero. So fine, Mr. Hero. What do I do? Ah, she's challenging him. There is no one guaranteed path. There are too many hundreds of thousands of considerations for there to be just one set way to accomplish things. Being well-intentioned isn't enough, for that often leads to weakness that the cruel and short-sighted will exploit. Wisdom is needed, but not enough either. You also need force, the ability to dissuade bad actors that would take advantage of someone who merely offers good and well-intentioned advice. So trust no one, Zavia asks, before considering. Is that why you do so much yourself? I do so much myself because there's a great deal to do, and I can get much of it started quickly and effectively. As to what I'm saying, my advice is that you remember that in each and every person is both a hero and a villain, a monster and a messiah simultaneously. We all have the capacity to great and terrible things in equal measure. So, as a leader, It is best if you minimize the opportunity for the terrible to happen, to not give monsters a chance, but allow heroes and the well-intentioned to act. Most everyone seeks for purpose, and tying themselves to something good and constructive will give them a sense of purpose. Is that why you're so insistent on redemption and mercy? Because you think they can do better? We can all do better, Zavaya. Perfection is impossible, but it is a worthy goal. And what is perfect? She asks him. He smiles. That, my dear, is the right question. He answers serenely. She frowns at him. He holds his wise, serene look for a moment before chuckling. But, in all seriousness, perfect is an ever-changing goal and ideal. What's perfect in one place is stupid in the next. Part of what makes it impossible, you see. So yes, striving for improvement should be the main goal, for there's always room to do a little better. We all fall, we all fail, and it's how we deal with it that determines what caliber of person we are. You haven't, she mutters, and he snorts. I consider my own existence a testament of failure. The Undaunted's failure to protect its soldiers, my brother's failure to defend his own mind from being copied and stolen, Dr. Morgana Skitterway's failure to protect her son or move on from his death. I am failure given flesh, so I must be better. Is that why you've been doing so well? You're so drenched in failure that they're all out of the way, so you have nothing but success left? Zavaya mocks. Shh, don't jinx it, Jasper jokes, and she can't help but snort.